a little bit, about health care in this country. Where we are, why we need this product. Most people, what do? They get up in the morning and what do they have for breakfast? Cereal, donuts, cereal. What else? Junk, right? Or nothing. You know, Little Debbie. No, what happens when you get up? The first thing you do is you eat sugar, you eat carbohydrates, you eat some type of grain. Most people, not the smart people in this room, but most people get up and they eat all this junk for breakfast. Up goes the sugar, right? Sugar high. Feel good for a little while, but then what happens? Bam! Sugar low. Sugar low, what happens? Your body is starving to death. It is so hungry it can't stand it. It does everything it can do to get food back into the system. One thing it kicks in is cortisol. It thinks it's dying. I mean, it's in full stress mode. It thinks it's going to die when it has a sugar low. Kicks in cortisol. That's that flight or fight hormone, basically. That substance that helps you handle stress. Talk about being stressed. That's major stress on your body, in other words. But it gets the sugar back up. When you have another sugar high, just like with this sugar high, what happens is your body has to handle that sugar. It has to get rid of that sugar. And the way it does it is produce insulin. Insulin is not your friend. A sugar high is not your friend. Anything you can do to prevent a sugar high during the day is going to add years to your life. Insulin in many species, in like flies and yeast and studies and so on, that they have actually shown that the higher the resting insulin, the higher your insulin level is, the shorter your lifespan. So if you want to die, and you want to die younger, continue to eat sugar. Continue to have these sugar highs. Don't eat these Little Debbies. And I want you to know it's been 6 months since I've had a Little Debbie. Thank you very much. 6 months. Anyway, can you see what happens here? Once you have a sugar high, then you have a sugar low. Then you have a sugar high. Then you have a sugar low and a sugar high. What this does, it literally wears your body out. It wears out your ability to handle stress because it's stress just from living. It wears out your cells in your body that typically respond to insulin because they're constantly being bombarded with more and more and more insulin, and the body has to handle it. And so your body is no longer able to handle stress, and along comes the stress from whatever reason, and you know, environmental, job, flu, whatever, you get sick. You get sick, right? So this is not what you want to do. You want to be in tip-top shape. You don't want to wear your adrenal glands out that produce that cortisol. You don't want to wear your pancreas out that produces that insulin all the time. You want to be healthy. You don't want this up and down. You want to kind of, you know, go through the day like that without the peaks and valleys. And the way you're going to do that is have a shake first thing for breakfast, because that prevents this sugar spike. That allows it to kind of go like this so that you don't have that first spike. And if you don't have a spike, you're not going to have a sugar low. But that protein first thing for breakfast is incredible for your diet. 25 grams of protein we should have. There's 24 in the shake, so you can eat something else if you want to get the other gram. You know, an average egg, for instance, has about 6 or 7 grams. A whole egg, 6 or 7 grams. There's 24 grams of protein in that shake, or you could eat a great big giant steak. That'll give you protein for breakfast. You know, we used to eat meat for breakfast. We used to eat eggs for breakfast, and we've been kind of misled on our diets a little bit. Now, true, bacon today is probably not that good for you because it's full of all its preservatives and junk. But real bacon, like we used to have, is excellent for you. And I want to show you why that is. But you got to have those shakes for breakfast. Absolutely. Very, very healthy. You also, it's critical that you take care of your liver. Take care of your liver. That's one of the biggest problems that people have in this country is your liver. And one of the reasons that we have problems is because all the junk we're exposed to. I mean, all the preservatives, all the environmental pollutants, everything has pretty much destroyed our liver. Doesn't look quite like that, but it's full of junk. You see, the liver is it's like a fuel filter in your car. Don't know what I'm talking about? The filter in your car gets all the junk out of that fuel before it gets to the engine to where it's got to do its good. Well, if that fuel filter becomes clogged up with junk, your car stops. My truck stopped about 3 or 4 times because I got bad fuel. Well, we're putting all this bad fuel into our system, and our liver's having to take care of all this junk. So how does the liver do it? It filters it out. And guess what? Then it delivers it into the intestinal tract through the gallbladder, and through the gallbladder right into the intestinal tract, and it comes out somewhere down there. But anyway, can you understand why it's important that we keep this filter functioning good? Okay? And understand why it's important. Please don't go have your gallbladder taken out. I'm sorry for getting medical here, but it absolutely tears me up to hear somebody that has to have their gallbladder taken out. The reason they have to have their gallbladder taken out is not because the gallbladder is so bad, they just let their filter get clogged up so bad. And it's all gooked up, it's all full of junk, and you got to get it cleaned out again. Just making sense? How do you clean it out? We got an awesome product to do just that. And it's not just that, but so many more things. But that's really why, best I can tell, why it's helping so many people with so many different problems, is it's detoxing that liver. Awesome. First step for health is to detox. Not that you're going to have all these complications from your typical detox type product. I mean, there are some serious detox programs out there that'll make you sick, I promise. But this one is totally different. I mean, people aren't getting sick here. People aren't having problems. The most I've had is very simple little swelling, and we were talking about that this morning, Ann and I were. I think this particular lady, she has some swellings in her face occasionally, and I think it's from all the drugs and medication that she's had. We got to get it out of her system. So we're going to back off to like 1 capsule a day instead of the saturation dose and help get it out of her system a little more gradually rather than all at once. Does that make sense? I mean, it's a simple product. It's a simple product, but why we saturate to begin with, 1 per 25 pounds, is get all this junk out of their system. Does that make sense? Yes. And that is the simplicity of the product. Now, we've all heard, and you've heard me say it a million times, until you get the minerals right, nothing else matters. Well, that's crucial too. And the reason that is, many reasons, but between all the cells in the body, obviously there's fluid that's flowing, and it's the minerals that help get things across the membranes. One of the first things that helps get things across the membranes to get rid of the junk, to get it on down here into the liver and so on and so forth. Is this helpful at all? I mean, just kind of an overview of why this is good. That's why the shakes are good. That's why this is good. And there's more to come.